Yesterday was National Signing Day, and Michigan put together a phenomenal class, especially kind of considering where they were 5, 6, 4 months ago. A lot of people started being down on this class, not enough high-end talent. Then you add, Babalola, right? You add Bryce Underwood, a couple other players. You get a flip back from Nick Marshall, right? He was committed to Michigan, flip back to Alabama or Auburn, flip back to Michigan a couple days ago, and you end up with a top 6, top 7, top 8 class. Could get into the top 5 because I think there's at least one 5-star out there that we will tell you about. Later on in the show, I am going to talk offensive coordinators' names to watch. Kirk Campbell out just a couple days right after beating Ohio State. And he is out as Michigan's offensive coordinator, and we'll talk about 5 names. Right? There's a lot of names being thrown out there. I think based on information and just likelihood, I put together 5 names I think you need to watch over the next few days. I think it could really heat up after these conference championship games coming up on Saturday. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Michigan Football Report as we are, where are we at, Jake? Like 33,000 subscribers. Let's get to the next milestone soon. Hit that subscribe button, youtube.com/Michigan TV. Send the link to your friends. Tell them to subscribe to the number one show in 2022, 2023. I don't think we're going to get there this year, Jack, but we'll make a furious comeback in 2025. Some news that broke in the last hour or two that I'm not sure is good news or not. This is when I put the headline as Michigan gets good and bad news. Let's start with the bad news. Warde Manuel is set to sign a 5-year extension per Dan Wetzel of, I don't know, some Big J, CBS Sports, Yahoo News, wherever Dan Wetzel writes these days. And it's been regurgitated by all the Michigan blog boys, so no reason to dispute it at this point. So if this happens, which I guess, we're going to get 5 more years of Warde Manuel. Now, his original contract, which he signed 3 years ago, runs through the end of the 2025-26 school year. So you've got 1.5 years left with Warde based on his current deal. So his 5-year extension would take you to summer of 2031. Now, let's talk about Warde Manuel for a second, because I think on the surface, he won a national championship as the athletic director for the football team, and he's got a nice little recruiting class going on here with the football team this year. But overall, right, and people say, okay, he's been to a couple of final and national championship game in college in men's basketball. He's been to a college baseball World Series, the men's baseball team. He's been to a Frozen Four, a couple of Frozen Fours with the hockey team, right? That's what he's oversaw. But what did he really oversee over the last 6, 7 years, 8 years since he's been the offensive coordinator? A few things I want to point out. One, lost arguably the best coach in Michigan football history in Jim Harbaugh by not getting him an extension, not getting a contract done for 2 straight off seasons. Okay, that's one. Lost the best basketball coach in the history of this program, John Beilein. Warde was off traveling with his wife and kids in Europe or something like that when Beilein's calling him, frantically trying to get a hold of him. Hey, getting these offers. Do you want to keep me extended? Loses John Beilein, all right? Then he loses the best baseball coach, right? Eric Bakich to Clemson, right? The coach that took Michigan to the College Baseball World Series, lost in the 3rd game, and then lost 2 of the best hockey coaches that this program has ever seen. Brad Berenson retired, then the next guy, there was a little scandal. Warde backed him, then didn't back him. I think it was all a bunch of cancel culture stuff going on, but Warde didn't have the spine to back his coach. So 5 more years of Warde. I want to know what you guys think about his job performance so far as Michigan's athletic director. Give me on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, how you think Warde has done as Michigan's athletic director. I'm going to go with the 3. I don't think he's done that good of a job. Maybe he'll redeem himself with a new NIL-focused era of Michigan athletics, but based on what he's seen, the coaches that he's lost, I'm going to go ahead and give him a 3, maybe give him a 4. Let's look at Michigan's recruiting class now. 24/7 Sports Composite, which kind of like aggregates and divides and spits out a score for all the services combined. They gave Michigan the number 7 overall class. 24/7 Sports, their own rankings, number 8. ESPN had Michigan at 6. On 3, had them at 6 as well, with Rivals.com. Still around, Jack. Rivals.com. At number 7. The star of the class, of course, is Bryce Underwood, the number 1 player in the 2025 class, the number 1 quarterback, the number 1 player in Michigan. He is going to be expected, I think, to start from day 1 for this team. And there should be no doubting that. Right now, what Michigan should and probably will do in the portal is to get a quarterback that can play and win games but is not expecting to be the full-time starter. Maybe a guy who lost his job somewhere else, wants to transfer, get into a master's program. I do expect Davis Warren to be on this team next year to be another option for starting quarterback if Bryce Underwood struggles. But I don't expect most of the other guys, maybe any of the other guys on this quarterback roster to be a part of this team. I hope I'm wrong. I hope a couple of them stick around. Mostly it'd be nice to see Jaden Davis stick around because he can still develop, but I am not expecting it at this point. Next up, we are going to talk about a potential another 5-star that Michigan could land in this class. You guys are going to want to know about that and why a high 4-star didn't pick Michigan yesterday, decided to stick in the SEC. But I got to tell you about Gametime, the sponsor of the Michigan Football Report, the best place to go for last-minute tickets. It's the app that I use to buy tickets to the national championship game for myself and Jack and a couple other folks here at Chat Sports in Houston this past January. Gametime is a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The Michigan football regular season is over, but Gametime is still the perfect app for tickets to all your favorite teams. You want to see the Lions go play the Packers this Sunday? Gametime. How about seeing this amazing Michigan basketball team that just beat Wisconsin, number 11 Wisconsin on the road? They're playing Iowa on Saturday. Gametime. Ready to head south from Michigan's bowl game when it's announced. Going to be announced this Sunday. Gametime. I love their last-minute deals. You save my money by buying last-minute tickets for sports, comedy, theater, anything you need. All in pricing. You don't get smacked with surprise fees at checkout. Toggle this feature on to show the total upfront cost. And Seat Views, a great panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. The link is down in the comments and the description of today's Michigan Football Report. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. Back to your regularly scheduled programming, the 2025 Michigan recruiting class. Good class. Really nice class. Like what we see, there's still a few pieces out there. One of the gems of this class, one of the guys I think could be in a position to be an All-American, right? All-Conference, at least in 2 seasons, and by his sophomore year, is Andrew Olesh. Been committed to Michigan for a while, 5-6 months since July, but did not sign yesterday. That's always been a flag for me when a guy doesn't sign. I'm almost 100% on this over the last 4, 5, 6 recruiting classes. Guy doesn't sign in the early period since it started. There's been a lot of guys say, I'm going to sign in February with my teammates. I'm going to do this. I talked to the coaches. There's no rush to sign. Those guys never end up in the class. But since Olesh is announcing just 2 days after signing day, I'm not sure why the delay. He's going to decide between Michigan, Oregon, and Penn State. He's taken visits to Oregon and Penn State over the last few weeks. A lot of buzz out there that he could flip and choose someone else and not stick with Michigan. But my prediction is Michigan is going to land him. I think had they not landed Bryce Underwood, right? Had they maybe not get some of this last season momentum with the 50 points versus Northwestern, the win on the road against number 2 Ohio State, he may have looked elsewhere. He may have been pulled away from his commitment to Michigan, but I think he sticks with Michigan for this class, and Michigan gets himself a top 100 overall player at tight end to maybe be the next player to replace Colson Loveland as an All-American first-round draft pick. If you guys like this 2025 Michigan football recruiting class, show some love. When the recruits watch this, show some love and like today's video. Make sure they know they're getting all the support from you, the Michigan football fan base. Let's keep things rolling on a 5-star that Michigan could flip. Ty Haywood, from right here down the road, Jack. He's from Denton, Texas, which is right near where Chat Sports is here in Dallas. The number 20 overall recruit. He's been committed to Alabama, but he did not sign yesterday. And a lot of the blog boys are putting out their crystal balls and their magic Ouija boards saying that Ty Haywood is going to be the second offensive tackle, 5-star in this class. He's number 4 overall tackle. So Michigan would have the top tackle in Babalola, or maybe he's the second, but they have 2 of the top 4 offensive tackles in the class to guard and protect Bryce Underwood from the front, from the back. That would be amazing to pair 2 5-star tackles with maybe the best quarterback recruit we've ever seen in the history of recruiting, since it's been a thing probably the last 25 years or so. So keep an eye out for this one. I don't know what's going to happen because I'm not even sure, if he's finished taking all his visits and all this different stuff. So there's a chance that he could string this out until February and not even commit or sign until February. So don't expect this to happen right away. But I think when all is said and done, Ty Haywood will be a member of this 2025 Michigan football recruiting class, and I think that gets Michigan into the top 5 when the rankings are all said and done. Derek Meadows was supposed to be a package deal, committed to LSU for the longest time with Bryce Underwood, started looking at Notre Dame a little bit. Then when Underwood was looking like he was going to commit to Michigan, then did flip to Michigan, it looked like Meadows was going to be a Michigan football commit as well. He's playing out there in Las Vegas at Bishop Gorman High School, but almost transferred to Bellevue, right, as a sophomore. His dad played college ball in the state of Michigan. His dad was high school teammates with the old Bellevue coach. He's not really a big fan of Michigan himself, but what I was told is that when Meadows saw the deal, right, multiple $1 million year deal that Bryce Underwood was getting from Michigan, he thought he was getting 5-star money too. Michigan offered him an NIL package, but it wasn't Bryce Underwood money. It wasn't anywhere near Bryce Underwood money. It wasn't, I'm going to go to Cabo for Thanksgiving break like Bryce Underwood did. I don't know if you saw that, Jack, or Cancun, I think it was, that kind of money. And so he was like, offended by it a little bit. So from what I've been told is Meadows did not get the NIL deal from Michigan that he was expecting, because Michigan they're going to play games, right? They're going to throw money around with the backing they have, but they're not going to be dumb. They're not going to overpay for a guy who isn't seen as a generational talent. Meadows is not a 5-star, right? He's a mid-level 4-star, top 100 player, but not a generational talent that you've got to break the bank for. Alabama gave him what he was looking for, and he ended up flipping from LSU to Alabama. How about this, Jack? It's been 4 straight years. You weren't here, Jack. You probably weren't even an adult then. I'm not sure how old you were in January of 2020. How old were you January 2020?
I'm 26. I'm 26 now.
Okay.
So, little mental math.
Well, when's your birthday? Is it before January? When's your birthday again?
It's September.
September. Okay. So in January, it's 5 years back. So you've been 21, right?
Yeah.
So you were an adult. Okay. We came out with this slogan after the back-to-back 62 points, 56 points. It was an election year. One candidate had a red logo that said, Make America Great Again. We stole that with a nice slogan. They had Maggot. We had Bosa. Michigan hasn't lost since. It's been 5 seasons. You had a canceled game. You got 4 straight wins. I'm not taking credit for it, Jack, but we could go to a court of law and we can convince a jury of 12 jurors that this was the reason that Michigan has turned the entire program around. And it's all thanks to the audience of this show. So you've been with us since 2020, and the push to make Ohio State a focus, which I know for a fact got into the walls of Schembechler Hall. Comment Bosa. Let's make it 5 straight wins and 6 straight seasons in 2025 for this program over Ohio State. They're losing a ton of talent next year, and if Michigan can get any play at the quarterback talent, I think Michigan's going to be a touchdown or more favorite in Ann Arbor next November. Comment Bosa below. Tyler Morris is headed out after 3 years at Michigan. 2 years as a starter. You could call him kind of a quasi-starter last year. Definitely started this year. He's the number 3 wide receiver, but sometimes Michigan didn't always start 3 wide receivers. I think that he got the word from the Michigan coaching staff in the last couple of days as they're having kind of end-of-year meetings with position groups and with the head coach himself, that they are going to go after multiple wide receivers in the transfer portal. You already had one visiting this past weekend from Indiana who had some big stats there, and I'm pretty sure that was the word that made him go seek opportunities elsewhere. I bet he ends up in the Midwest, right? He's from the same high school as J.J. McCarthy in the Chicago area in Illinois. I bet he ends up at Illinois or Northwestern like A.J. Hanning or some other Big Ten school like that. Maybe he ends up at a Wisconsin, Minnesota. We'll see how it shakes out. But Tyler Morris will always be a legend for the touchdown that he scored in the first half of the Rose Bowl against Alabama. I watched the play over again. Go, after you don't watch this video right now, just type in Tyler Morris, Alabama, right? Tyler Morris, Alabama touchdown in YouTube, or go on Twitter and view it. It's amazing that, one, he outran the linebacker that was covering him underneath. That's fine. But there was a cornerback, Jack. I want you to go watch this afterwards. There was a cornerback that, in my opinion, based on trajectory and speed, could have easily hit him out of bounds like the 16-yard line. And somehow that guy just slowed up and let him walk in the end zone. So Tyler Morris made the play. The Alabama DB did not make the play, right? Pushed him out to try to do about the 2-yard line. Morris stretched, scored the touchdown, and Michigan went into halftime against Alabama feeling great and ultimately got the win in overtime. I expect Michigan, though, to bring in at least 2 starter-level wide receivers, 2 guys that they think can be in the starting lineup to make sure that Bryce Underwood or whoever starts for Michigan next year, I expect to be Underwood, has the weapons to put together a competent offense, which Michigan didn't have from the quarterback position this past year or the wide receiver position. You could make an argument that this year's wide receiver group, which included Morris, Samaj Morgan, Frederick Moore, and others, was the weakest we've ever seen in the history of this school. So best of luck to Tyler Morris, Michigan legend, for that play alone. Who is on Twitter, aka X? If you are, I am asking you once again to follow me there. Blowing up lately, Jack. My tweets were going crazy Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, getting 4 or 5 million impressions on tweets. Follow me at James Yoder. I'm only tweeting Michigan football or making fun of Ohio State and Notre Dame. So money back guarantee. If you don't get what we claim we're offering, money back guarantee. If you follow me on Twitter, we'll give you back the money that you paid to do so, which ironically is nothing. Best wishes to Kirk Campbell, Michigan's offensive coordinator, and was the quarterback's coach last year. Was with the program in 2022, so 3 years at Michigan. Placed in an impossible situation, I think. We were critical of him at times this year. Placed in an impossible situation with not being able to recruit a quarterback in the transfer portal, not being left with a viable quarterback on the roster, and a wide receiver group that frankly didn't have the talent to compete and have a viable passing game. So always be a Michigan man. Wish him future success. No hard feelings. He was part of the national championship run. He was part of beating Ohio State again in 2022. And so for that, he'll always be a Michigan man. And we wish Kirk Campbell the best in these future endeavors. Hopefully he ends up somewhere, maybe get a quarterback coaching job somewhere, work his way back up to OC, maybe eventually be a head coach somewhere down the line. Here is the 5 names I think are most likely for this Michigan coaching head offensive coordinator job by Sherrone Moore, be hiring his second OC in 2 seasons. I think this guy, Joe Craddock, right? Keep an eye on Tulane. They play on Saturday. Who are they playing? Army, right? In the AAC championship game. They've got great stats on offense, passing, on rushing. They don't always just throw the ball. They don't always just run the ball. They're very balanced. They use the shotgun. They use the pistol. They go under center plenty. A Michigan offense I think would resonate and be something that would be welcomed from Michigan football fans. So watch that game this weekend, Tulane versus Army in the AAC championship, because Joe Craddock, in a matter of a day or two after that game was over, could be named Michigan's offensive coordinator. If not him, could Brian Griese, Michigan's last national championship quarterback before J.J. McCarthy? We actually talked to him at the Super Bowl, Jack. I did, made a few jokes to him, but I'd love to see him back, right? The work he did with Brock Purdy last year to turn Mr. Irrelevant into the offensive passing efficiency leader for the NFL last year was absolutely coaching perfection to be able to pull that off. Now, they haven't had great of offense this year, but they've had a ton of injuries on the 49ers offense, but they're still winning games, right? They're about 500, but the offense is still looking competent. Purdy's playing decent enough, and I think Brian Griese would make a great offensive coordinator here at Michigan, get a Michigan man in for that job. Hearing this name a ton, I don't like it at all, right? I don't like it, but I'm hearing the name a ton. Dan Mullen, former Mississippi State, former Florida head coach, and former offensive coordinator at Florida Gators with Urban Meyer when they won a couple national championships. Jason Candle, could he pull a kind of a Chip Kelly move? He's the head coach at Toledo, 9 years in, hasn't really got as many looks to jump up to coach a Wisconsin or an Illinois or a school like that, a Power 5 style school. So would he, in an effort to take a step up in his career, maybe get one of those big-time jobs, go be Michigan's offensive coordinator for 2 or 3 years with Bryce Underwood, get all the allure that comes along with that. You see what happened to Sherrone Moore. He got the head coaching job at Michigan. A lot of guys doing this, right? What just happened? FAU's coach, right? Gus Malzahn just stepped away to be the OC at Florida State. This is happening more and more in the era of NIL and transfer portal. So keep an eye out for Jason Candle. I wouldn't hate that one, but wouldn't like it as much as Craddock or Brian Griese. One that just came across my radar today. Wasn't really familiar with him, but we all know the Western Kentucky connection to the Harbaughs, right? Jack Harbaugh won a national title there. Jim was an unpaid assistant there. Their head coach, Tyson Helton, who was the quarterback, Jack, with the Patriots that threw for like 7,000. Bailey Zappi with Western Kentucky, coached by this guy a couple years back, threw for like 7,000 yards, broke the record 2 seasons ago, I think it was, maybe 3 seasons ago, 2 or 3 seasons ago, and he's kind of called the quarterback whisperer of the FCS, so we'll see what happens with that. Those are my 5 candidates: Craddock, Brian Griese, Dan Mullen, Jason Candle, and Tyson Heldon, the head coach at Western Kentucky. Sherrone Moore looking for a second play caller. I think he's got to nail this one because the risk of a guy like Bryce Underwood not liking what he sees of the offense after 1 year, could transfer anywhere he wants. That is still out there despite what the NIL package is that Michigan has given him. So we'll see what plays out. I kind of expect it to, if it's going to be Craddock, I expect it to be done by Monday or Tuesday of next week. One more ask for you guys. If you like this 2025 recruiting class, a lot of recruits, a lot of parents. I had one parent, Ashley Jack, I just found out, hit me up on LinkedIn a couple days ago. Hit me on LinkedIn, so I'm going to respond to that message if they're watching the show. But nevertheless, a lot of recruits watch the show. Make sure you guys are showing them love, like the video, and we will be back soon with another Michigan Football Report. Till then, go Blue.